Hello. Hoping everybody is now in the room, ready to start our virtual presentation. Okay, so good evening. Welcome to Wixams Tree's virtual open evening. My name's Mary Langley, and I'm the very proud head teacher here at Wixams Tree. So thank you so much for taking the time to join us this evening. Usually our lovely children show you around the school and our visitors, but unfortunately, because of the current situation, it's not allowed for you to come and see the school and the children in person. So Wixams Tree opened in September 2017 to 42 pupils. We have now grown to 302. At capacity, the school houses 420 children. We also have a preschool which provides 15 hours a week provision. The school is very highly oversubscribed at the moment and is very popular in the local area and beyond. And we are really, really proud of everything that we've achieved since opening in September 2017. Our pupil admissions number for starting school in September 2021 is 60. Wixams Tree is a really happy place to be. Children really love coming to school and our behaviour is exemplary. Every child is unique and we really value and celebrate that here. We are fully inclusive and every child is nurtured, enabling them to achieve high regardless of their starting point. We also feel strongly that it is our job as educators to encourage children to become resilient, confident, well-rounded people who know the difference between right and wrong. Our school environment is caring and supportive, meaning that every child can be given the opportunity to be the very best that they can be. So as you're unable to view the school in person, we have put together a lovely video which shows a snapshot of our wonderful school and life here at Wixams Tree, which I'm sure probably lots of you have already seen on our Facebook page because it's had lots of views. Following that, Mrs. Kelly Pestel, our Deputy Head Teacher and Senko, will give you a brief overview of our provision here, and Miss Leach, our Assistant Head Teacher in charge of early years, will follow with a presentation about our early years provision that we offer. We'll also, after that, have a question and answer session at the end. Please could you use the chat box to ask any questions. And so we do hope you consider applying to send your child to our lovely school. And I do look forward to meeting many of you when we're allowed to do so. Thank you. Hello, my name's Mary Langley. Hello, my name's Mary Langley and I'm the very proud head teacher here at Wixams Tree Primary School. There is no denying that every child is unique, and we value and celebrate this. We nurture every child, enabling them to achieve their full potential. We encourage our children to develop inquiring minds and a can-do attitude. Alongside this, we provide a caring and supportive environment. I do hope this video gives you a flavour of our wonderfully kind and nurturing school.
Go to Wixams Primary because of my teachers. Because I like my friends. Because I have nice friends and such a big field. Because I like getting some certificates.
Hello, my name is Mrs. Kelly Pestel, and I'm the Deputy Head Teacher here and the Senko here at Wixams Tree Primary. Today I'd like to speak to you a little bit more about my role as Senko, the Special Needs Coordinator here, and give you an overview of the provision we offer. Now, we pride ourselves on setting high expectations for all pupils and identify each individual child's starting point when they arrive with us here. And we use that knowledge to begin their learning journey in steps suitable for them. We celebrate diversity of each and every child and ensure that we accommodate all individual needs, enabling them to access a broad and balanced curriculum and then progress in their learning at a suitable rate. Some of the strategies we use to ensure inclusivity are differentiated learning, providing suitable resources to support learning, the use of visual timetables, having clear rules and routines and structures of our school, and in-class support, which is one-to-one and group work as well. And they're just some of the things we do here. There's a vast array. Now, to support children further, we may include them in intervention groups, such as a phonics intervention group, where the children receive additional support with their learning. Children who are identified as having a special educational need have an individual plan. This plan is drawn up with the child, the parents and carers, and the class teacher to identify targets specific to that individual to help them in their learning journey. These are reviewed every term to ensure that the children are progressing and making those steps. For more information about our SEND provision here, please do visit our website. We have a SEND information report which gives a very good detailed overview of what we offer here at Wixams Tree. Additionally, if your child does have a special educational need and you would like to know more about our provision, please do get in contact by phone, and I'm more than happy to speak with you and talk over any individual children and the provision we can make for them here at Wixams Tree. It is important for us to know as much information as possible about the children before they start with us, and this makes the transition process as smooth as possible so that we can provide them with suitable provision when they arrive here. So we will do that, like I've said, with talking to yourselves who know the most about your children, and also we will contact preschools and nurseries to find out information from them and transfer documents. So I really look forward to welcoming you as a family with your child to Wixams Tree Primary and starting their learning journey here. I would now like to introduce Miss Leach. She is one of our assistant head teachers and our fantastic early years lead, and she'll now speak to you about the early years provision.
Hello, good evening everyone. I'm Miss Leach. I'm the early years lead and one of the class teachers here in reception. I will introduce you to the other class teacher. She's just over the other side of the room at the moment. It's great so many of you have joined us this evening. We absolutely love this school. We're very passionate about it. I've been here since the opening 4 years ago, I think now, and so has Miss Strevens. So we're a very experienced team here. I'm going to run through a PowerPoint, a little presentation with you and talk about the slides to give you a bit more information about what to expect if your child starts here in reception. So here we go. So our reception unit can comfortably hold 60 children on roll. We're an open plan classroom. So behind me, you can see that this side is Cherry class, where it's my base, and then extends down to the other end of the room where it's Holly base. So we have two classes. We're open plans, so we do share this learning space. I'm going to call down Miss Strevens now. She's beavering away at the other end of the classroom. She's going to run the length of the classroom down just to wave hello to you. And there, this is Miss Strevens. She's the other, Miss Strevens, Holly class teacher, and I'm Cherry class teacher. So that's our reception unit. She's off now to do some more marking. So you'll see on the, you'll see on the slide here. I'm just going to Brilliant. You'll see on the slide here, we've got a few photos of showing our classroom. We're very colourful and vibrant. We have a lovely cloakroom toilet area. You can see our hall where we all go off to lunch. We often have a snack table permanently set up, but in the moment we're in the middle of the pandemic, so we do a whole class snack. But our usual sort of timetable is the children can access the snacks freely during the day. So we have our snacks every day. We have a shared area in the middle of the classroom here, and that's where we do our wet or messy play and our art activities there. Then we have our outside area. We access our outside area every day, whatever the weather, and our main playground too. We have some really lovely spaces, and they're still being developed. We're still looking at additional resources and provision to go into these areas as well. But it's a very much part of our learning environment here. Prior to starting with us, we would have an interview or a meeting with you to discuss your child's needs. We also contact, as Mrs. Pastel said, the preschools and nurseries where your children have come from. We chat to you and the children prior to starting school, just so we can gain a bigger picture, more information about your child's needs and interests and strengths, so that we can cater for these brilliantly when they start school. So our school day, usually the children begin on a part-time basis. This is around 5 to 10 days, and it really allows our staff to get to know the children, for the children to get to know us, the routines, the environment, and it really helps them to settle more readily into school life. The ratio in reception is actually 1 to 30. It's quite different from preschool, but each class does have a classroom assistant, so we are sort of 2 to 30. But it is, it's very much, the emphasis is very much on the child being more independent in reception when they join school. A full school day generally runs from about 8:40 at the moment until 3:10. And the reception children have their lunch at 11:40 until 12:10, and then they go out to the playground. At present, as you all know, we're in the middle of a pandemic, and so our school day is staggered. So the other year groups, we all come and go at different times of the day to reduce that congestion outside of the school. We found it's worked really brilliantly, and that's something that we'll be keeping in the future anyway. So our learning ethos, again, much of the learning is learning through play. And when your child starts reception, it will seem much like their preschool. So there'll be lots of play opportunities. And over those first couple of weeks, we'll be learning the routines and the environment and getting to know where to put things and what to do. And then gradually a more structured timetable will be filtered in, and that will be peppered with, moments of whole class learning, small group work, and we'll gradually build up to a more sort of formal timetable. But to be honest, the emphasis is still on play. It's very much on active learning. So, and your children won't even realise the transition from play to more focused learning is seamless, and we wouldn't initiate this until your child was ready anyway. So that, as I said, the timetabled level of routine is established gradually, and the more focused adult learning is staggered in as your child needs it. But the emphasis is still on play, learning through play, and that really is the whole way through reception. You can see an example timetable here. So it's roughly, the timings might vary. We might have to change things around a little bit, but this is roughly what to expect when your child comes to school. We'll have moments of whole class learning, moments of group work, moments of focused learning outside. We have timetabled PE as the rest of the school has. We've currently begun a programme with our premier sports providers, a football programme, and the children were absolutely amazing last week. And you wouldn't you wouldn't have thought that they were a group of 4 and 5 year olds, 30 children, all following instructions, controlling the footballs. It was amazing. So, you know, we are still very much part of the school in the early years unit. So we follow the early years curriculum, which at the moment we are an early adopter school. So we're piloting the new curriculum that is due to be rolled out next academic year. So we have characteristics of learning, and these very much run through everything that we do. The playing and exploring, the active learning, and the critical thinking is run through, weave through everything that we do here in reception. The curriculum is split into 7 areas of learning, and within those 7 areas, we have early learning goals. So the slide that you're seeing at the moment are the objectives and the goals that we would hope to achieve at the end of reception year. And so you can see we have our literacy, numeracy, we have our physical, our creative, our understanding of the world. So it's very much a broad, balanced curriculum, as is the rest of the school. During the reception year, we like to gather evidence of your children's learning, and as I said, a lot of it's done practically and through play. So we do take snapshots, photographs, and we use an app, a really great app called Evidence Me, and we're able to take photographs of your child's learning and then document it, and it's saved into their individual folder. We're able to add notes on next steps in these as well. We find it's a really, really valuable tool, and we wouldn't be without it. And if you want to see more, I've popped a link on there on the slide for you to have a look. But you may be, if your child is in a preschool that uses a similar app, then you'll be quite familiar with this kind of setup. So we evidence a learning journey through reception, and the children will have a folder of work, evidence and photographs that we share with you on a regular basis, and that builds up a really lovely picture of their development from the beginning of the year to the end of the year. So it's a really lovely memento to have. We have got a baseline. It was due to be rolled out this year, the reception baseline. We piloted it last year so that we could gain really good experience of how to run it. It is a computer-based program that you spend about 20 minutes per child to find out their early learning skills and literacy and numeracy mainly. And then this is used to measure the progress throughout the primary school. And last year, it was a very valuable experience, and the children really didn't realise they were doing anything. They were being assessed. They thought it was just a really lovely special job to do with their class teacher. We had some resources and activities to do with the children, and then we recorded the results, and it was over and done within about 20 minutes, and we split it up. We did the numeracy first, and then we did the literacy, and the children just loved it because it was time one-to-one with their teacher. So again, if you want to find out more about the baseline, again, I've popped a link on the slide there for you. So our uniform, our winter uniform, are the green polo shirts and the pinafores and the trousers. We don't wear the shirt and tie like the rest of the school, and this is to enable the children to be a bit more flexible in their learning, and it's for ease if we're changing for PE. And then I've popped a little link on there for the summer uniform as well, and where you can find the uniform from. Drinks and snacks, we do subscribe to a milk scheme. So your child up until they're 5 will receive free milk. We will register the children when they start school. And then after they're 5, you can pay, and it's a reduced rate, a subsidised rate. If your child has any dietary requirements or has a milk allergy and has a soya or dairy alternative, then if you provide the milk to us, we can then give it to your child in school so that they don't, seem any different from the other children drinking their milk. Water is freely available. The children can access that during the day. We have a fruit scheme, so we have a fresh piece of fruit or vegetable provided every day. But we do say if your child wants additional snacks, then you can provide those in a snack box, a healthy snack such as fruit, vegetables, or a protein-based snack. So phonics, reading and writing. We use a blend of different reading schemes to provide you with home books, reading at home. These scheme books, a mix of them. We find a mix is best because each scheme provides a different layout, and some may be based more on phonics, some might be based more on pictures, some might be more based on using keywords. So it's a lovely blend of books that we provide and use for the children to support their reading development. In terms of the phonics, we follow Jolly Phonics initially for those first set of sounds, and then we've developed a really lovely scheme in school where we'll use pictures and phrases to learn those more complicated sounds, the digraphs and trigraphs, where two letters join together to make one sound. So, but we share very regularly with you what we're learning in class, and then you can support at home. So you'll get a weekly newsletter from us outlining exactly which sounds we've covered each week and what we're going to cover the following week. We use a cursive script here as well. Initially, the children might find it more difficult to write, but we found that some of the children already, and this is half a term in, are already joining up the letters of their name and forming their letters beautifully. And some children might be quicker, some children might be a bit slower at grasping this script, but actually it's a lovely, it produces such beautiful handwriting and actually really supports their spelling skills as well as the older they get, because they learn the letter strings and the shape of the words as they're joined up. So it's a really lovely thing to do, and it does produce amazing handwriting. We do provide you, when you start school, an alphabet and a laminated name card as well, so you can practice this handwriting at home. And there's lots of online links to this scheme, so that you at home can follow it too and learn how to form these letters. And finally, if there's any more information you need, you can contact myself at our info Wixams email address, and I'll be more than happy to answer those questions for you. Okay, thank you very much for listening. And I think we're over to the question and answer session now.
Lovely. So if there is anything you would like to ask us, please pop it in the question and answer section on the right hand side of your page, and we will work through the questions that you would like us to answer. So we have Jessica, who has asked, we are due to move to the area. Do you have any spaces in year 4?
I think Mrs. Langley might be best, but I believe we are full in all year groups now, Mrs. Langley, aren't we?
Yes, unfortunately we are. When we opened, we were sort of building year on year, and so we just opened with one reception class and a mixed year 1-2 class, and now we're at full capacity in all of those classes. Next year, sort of obviously it goes up to our year 2s, then go up to year 3. Until we've actually got full capacity where we open all of the classrooms, and that will happen around about sort of like 2023. So, but unfortunately for the moment, we are at full capacity.
Thank you. Robert has asked, what makes Wixams Tree unique when compared to other similar schools?
Well, I think Mrs. Langley would agree. It's our family feel here. We're very, very nurturing. We've got a very large friendly staff, and we're very welcoming too. And I know that lots of our parents have commented about this, the fact that we're approachable, we're very friendly, we have a warm environment, it's very vibrant. It just, the care and dedication and support that we give to the children is impeccable, and you know the parents hold us in high regard. So you know we care very deeply that we provide a loving, nurturing environment for the children.
Is this
you want to add something, Mrs. Langley?
Yes, I would like to. Is this the question, what makes us unique?
Yes.
Sorry, because I didn't hear what the question was.
What makes us stand out? What makes us unique?
When we were opened, when we had the funding agreement, it was that we had the same academies trusts as the school across the road. So we do work really, really closely in partnership with Wixams Academy. And when allowed, as we're building, we are able to use their facilities, which a lot of primary schools don't get to have. So we can go and use their science labs. Not at the moment. Their students come over to mentor our children, and that's happened for the last 3 years, obviously until lockdown, which was wonderful. Their students came over and did lunchtime clubs with our children, helped out on sports days. So when children do transition across the road to the academy, the children here already have got such a wide knowledge of the school. Like I said, we work really, really closely with the staff, and I work really closely with the principal over there as well. So having those facilities that we can use, those larger facilities that a normal primary school wouldn't have, is something that really does make us unique.
Thank you. So Claire has asked a question. Do you have a wraparound provision?
Yes, we do, Claire. Our wraparound care provider is Dawn Till Dusk. They are an external provider, but they are based on site here. At the moment, they're upstairs in a couple of the vacant classrooms. So if you were interested in using their facility, if you search for Dawn Till Dusk Wixams Tree, you can have a link to them and chat to them directly. So yes, we use them for their before and after school care, and it's on site here.
Thank you. Now, Lee has he thanks us for this evening. He says we are also due to move to the area very soon and would have one child due to enter reception in 2021 and another currently in year 3. We would also appreciate information around the likelihood of you having a place or places for both children.
Okay. Did you hear that question, Mrs. Langley?
No, I didn't. Sorry.
I'm going to read this question out to Mrs. Langley. I think we've had a couple of technical issues between Mrs. Pastel and Mrs. Langley's connection. Lee wants to know that they're due to move into the area very soon and have one child due to enter reception next year in 2021 and another currently in year 3. He wants to know what the likelihood of us having a place for both children would be.
Unfortunately, at the moment, year 2 is full. So if you are in the area, then your child will probably get a place at reception. But year 2 currently is full, then moving on to year 3. However, there are no sort of legal class sizes for Key Stage 2. In Key Stage 1 in early years, the legal class size is 30. So sometimes people do go to appeal to try and get their children into Key Stage 2 classes. And we have gone up to 32. We wouldn't really want to go up to more than 32 at the moment. So, yeah, I'm really a bit unsure if everybody would get a place.
Thank you. So Christy has said, I have twins and my main concern is them being accepted to different schools. Is this something that could happen?
I think, Mrs. Langley, I'm going to read the question and then sort of talk with Mrs. Langley through this. Christy has twins and her main concern is them being accepted to different schools. Is this something that could happen? I think it's very, very unlikely, Mrs. Langley, isn't it? If she had...
Yes, I think it's
both children here, they would both get a place.
Yeah, very, very unlikely for that to happen as long as they are in the local area, because as I said earlier in my talk, the school is very highly oversubscribed. The area is fast growing really, really quickly. And unfortunately, I don't think the school places can keep up with it. So I know the local authority are looking at building another school. But as long as they're both, in the near vicinity of the school, I really shouldn't see that would be a problem.
Mm-hmm. I think it would be very unlikely if the authority would offer 2 different schools for the twins.
Yes, indeed.
Excuse me, my lights have just gone out. I'm just going to flip.
So we're going to come on to our next question, which is from Emma. So Emma has asked, how often are the parent and teacher meetings parent evening and communication? So she's talking about the physical face-to-face meetings.
Well, we have formal parent consultations twice a year, normally October half term around then, and then again in February. However, we have quite an open door policy here, so we have a lot of contact with our parents at the door, and if there is a need arise or we feel that we need to have a chat with the parents, then we're quite open to having regular meetings, so that's not a problem, but the official one's twice a year.
Miss Leach. So now we have a question from Jessica. What activities and sports do the reception children get involved in?
That varies on are we talking about the extracurricular there, the lunchtime and after school clubs?
Yeah, I would imagine it's those extras, but also we can cover what we do in terms of PE, I'm sure. Yeah.
Well, we currently, we access the PE in the same way that the other children do. We have our external providers, and we've currently begun a programme of football, which has been absolutely amazing. And then in the summer term, we're due to have some multi-sports delivered by our external providers. In terms of extracurricular clubs, some of the clubs will apply to reception children and some don't. So it just depends what clubs are running that year. Premier Sports, it says, how often do you use Premier Sports? Premier Sports are used every week, and each year group would have their allotted blocks. So we, at the moment, we have a block of football skills this half term, and then we'll have it again in the spring. So we have it, I think, 2 blocks a year.
Lovely. Could you also give some information on the other extracurricular activities we have?
I'll give you an example of some of the things that are running. We've had gymnastics, we have recorders, a music club, there have been choirs, we have drama, and there's been dance, there's football. But again, as I said, some of them apply to certain year groups and some don't. So it just depends what's on offer at that time for which year group, really.
Thank you, Miss Leach. Now, looking at the next few questions, it might be worthwhile you posing these questions. So between Mrs. Langley and yourself, you can answer those. Thank you.
Is this, Gemma says, are you able to show us around the classroom? I can try. I'm going to unhook my laptop quickly and see if I can take you on a short tour. I do apologise if we have any technical issues here. So I'm going to just move so as you can see here, we have the classroom. I'm just going to give you a bit of a 360 now of, this is Cherry class. We'll just do a bit of a 360 there. We've got some very vibrant displays, and then back around, and then I'll see if I can take you through the cloakroom area here. The light will come on, it's automatic. Oh, here we go. Can you see the cloakroom area here? The doors, very, very vibrant and pretty. The colour scheme flowing throughout, which was Mrs. Langley's creative flair when she first set up the school. We're coming round here to Holly class, so we're at the other end now, just here. As you can see, we are fully open plan, and in the morning we tend to keep to our own base classrooms, and then we are more free flow in the afternoon, and the children quickly pick up that routine. Bit of a role play area. Hopefully it's tidy for you. This area is more for construction, just in here, sort of carpet area. So I'm just trying to angle my laptop and then coming back down to the other end of the classroom here. So there you are. I'll plug myself back in now. Oh, what else have we got there, Mrs. Pastel? Anything else?
So the next one, again, it might be something you would like to read out so that Mrs. Langley can hear.
Which one are we? I've lost.
This is James Bolt.
Right, okay, I'll go back up. Oh, here we are. James says, thank you for hosting this evening. Very useful. What do parents say about Wixams Tree? Do you do a survey? What areas are you focused on improving? Mrs. Langley, do you want to?
Yes, sure, absolutely. I'm not sure if you actually follow our Facebook page, or if you follow the Spotted at Wixams page. When anyone's ever looking for any recommendations for schools in the area, generally Wixams Tree comes up pretty high on the parent votes. And yes, we do surveys. We make sure that we do 2 surveys every year. One in the autumn term and one in the spring term, particularly after the parents' evening, to see if they felt that the children are settling in well, how happy are they with the provision. It's generally all those sort of questions that Ofsted would ask parents, and then we sort of analyse the results, and I would say that generally sort of 99% of parents are really, really happy with the school, and it's the same with the children, because we do children's surveys as well, and they generally say that their learning is fun and they really, really do love coming to school. We're focusing on quite a few areas at the moment, one being ensuring that our children are really, after lockdown, a lot of children were away from school for a whole 6 months, which is a long time. And you wonderful parents were working really, really hard with your children. But, you know, some children have come back with some gaps, and we're working really, really hard on their reading, writing and maths and phonics to ensure that they're really up to scratch by the summer term. We're also focusing on our outside area, and Miss Leach could tell you a little bit about that, but it was due to properly start just as lockdown started, and for us to get there, we've got a big area outside. It looks a bit like a jungle at the moment, unfortunately.
Sadly.
It doesn't look very, it looks a bit messy, but we're really working hard on now getting quotes to get that area up and running, to run as a forest school for all of the children to use, not just reception children. And really developing that area there. So that's really one of our big focus, is the outside area.
Miss Leach, would you like to continue with the questions? I think it will probably work better from now on.
That's fine. Is the next one for Marinella? So she says her son is very attached. They say their son is very attached to the parents, and there's no grandparents around for them to spend with. And the preschool is doing 3 hours. What will happen if he has a meltdown as everything is new? Well, when children start school, it is all very new, but we talk very openly with the parents. We nurture the children a lot. We have a very open dialogue. So if your child is finding things difficult, we might suggest a half day. You know, it really is tailored to each child. So each child's needs might be slightly different, and we would agree with the parents on the best strategy to support them and settle them into school. So there's no hard and fast rule. You know, if your child needs to come in slightly early and get settled before the rest of the children, that's a strategy we sometimes use. Sometimes so that the parent can come in with the child, obviously if that's COVID friendly, when we're not in this pandemic. But it really depends on the child's needs and how we can best support them. So that would be a case by case basis, really. But we're very used to having children who have, you know, a wide range of needs, and we cater for these, you know, on an individual basis. So we're really used to having those children who find separation difficult from their parents. But you'll find probably within a few days that they'll be settled brilliantly, and they'll just want to come in and play with their friends. So the next question was from Emma. Drop off and pick up, I think, is that right, Mrs. Pastel? Drop off and pick up. I can imagine it gets congested. Is there any measures in place? Parking, a drop-off system? You mentioned the staggered starts and end, and that this may continue. I think maybe, Mary, this could be something you could answer, because you're very passionate about the cars and the amount of traffic outside, and you've you've really, Mrs. Langley loves the way that we've now staggered the drop-offs and pickups. So over to you, Mary.
Definitely. Thank you. Thank you, Emma. Definitely, it does get incredibly congested out there with being part of on the sort of same campus as the academy. The schools were built as community schools. So both schools, you've noticed outside that we do have quite large bike sheds and scooter sheds. We do try and encourage as many children to walk or scoot or bike to school as possible. I do understand that it's not very safe at the moment out there to do that, and until the local authority adopt the roads, which they haven't yet, we can't do a huge amount about it. But I am working really closely with the local authority and the highways agency to try and ease the congestion. Certainly having the staggered starts has made a big difference, but unfortunately when it rains it's chaos out there, and I can only say that actually I'm being very, very, very honest with you. It's a very, very narrow road. And like I said, we're working on a travel plan. I'm working on a travel plan with the local authority to try and ease the situation as much as we can. So we don't really have any dedicated drop-off spaces apart from the bays that are outside of the school. Hope that helps.
Thank you. There's a question there from Emma. It says, my son would have just turned 4. Do you monitor or have any provisions in place for those summer young children who may struggle academically, be a little behind? Do you monitor these in other ways, or just monitor all and intervene from there? Yes, Emma, we would just keep a track of all the children, and as I said, cater for their needs on a case-by-case basis. So, we have some young summer board children who are coping beautifully academically, and other children that might be finding things difficult. So it really does depend on the child. And we would just speak to the parents, as I said, have that open dialogue and support where the support was needed, whatever the reason. Some of the parents opt to do some part-time school initially if their child finds it difficult. Again, this might be something that we can agree with the parents on a case-by-case basis. So, it looks like Emma again there. I've lost it. Do you take out of catchment? If so, how far? Would all students be guaranteed progression into the Wixams Academy post Year 6? If not, where is the likely next secondary school? Mrs. Langley, would you like to?
Hi. Yes, obviously we don't actually have a catchment area on our admissions policy. It is children with EHCP, looked after children, siblings, and then children of staff, and then any other children, and then the other children will be on distance as the crow flies. So the nearer you are to school, the more likely you are to get a place. The further away, the less likely you are to get a place. Initially, when we first opened in 2017, lots of people came from out of catchment because the area wasn't as built up as it is now, but with the area being built up and still many houses left to be built, lots and lots of very young families moving into the area. As I said, the further away you are, the less likely you would get a place in the school. And the academy doesn't have their admissions. So children from Lakeview School, which is also in the same area, and us here at Wixams Tree would have the same chance of getting into the academy. It's not the catchment school. We're not a feeder school for the academy. That's the way the academy wanted it to work. The trust wanted it to work. So it will, again, depends if you have a sibling in that school or how far away you are from the academy.
We have another question here that asks, do children that already attend the preschool automatically secure a place in reception once the application has been submitted? And I think that's no, isn't it, Mrs. Langley? They don't automatically. It just goes through the normal admissions criteria, doesn't it?
It does, yes. And the preschool is separate. So we're local authority funded. We're sort of governor, like local advisory board run, and it's not actually part of the school admission. So no, unfortunately, there were some children who had come to our preschool last year who didn't manage to get a place into the school. So really sorry about that.
The large majority of the children did
Yes.
get a place because they obviously the admissions criteria worked for them, but there were one or two that sadly didn't. So I think we have another question. I'll just scroll down. It's Connie. Would you recommend adding another school on the application? I only want my little one coming here, but I'm worried in case she doesn't get in. I would say, Connie, as a parent too, yes, I would always add another school on there, because otherwise you could be allocated anything and not have that choice. So would you agree, Mrs. Langley?
Yes, no, definitely, because if you don't put another choice down, they could end up putting you somewhere where you really don't want to go.
Absolutely. Hi, thank you very much for this event. In your experience, how are children settling in? Do you find friendships building quickly? Are there events for parents to get to know other parents in the same group? I think you're probably talking about reception. Children settle incredibly quickly, don't they, Mrs. Langley? I think you're always sort of surprised when you walk into the door after just a few days of the children being here that you think they might have been here for months and months. They grow in independence and confidence so quickly after walking through the door. Friendships build very quickly. So even though the children might have known each other in preschools or outside of school, they quickly develop other friendships within school. There are no events at the moment, particularly obviously in our pandemic, but I know the parents are all very keen to get WhatsApp groups going. So I know that most year groups, if not all, already have their WhatsApp group, which is, you know, a good support network for those parents there.
Mm-hmm. In normal times, we quite often run coffee events, and you also run, don't you, Miss Leach, in normal times when you're allowed parents in to come in and view children's works. They're all coming in together as a group, so we have those opportunities there. And then any other events in normal times that we have, like things like assemblies and nativities and shows and things, are chances to for them to get together. And I've actually just seen another question. I can see the questions on there. Do we have a PTA? We have a very, very vibrant PTA. But that's from Emma. But unfortunately not at the moment. In the first 3 years, they raised over £5,000 for the school, which was absolutely amazing. And they've done some wonderful things, school discos for the children, helping out on sort of mufti days, parties, oh gosh, lots and lots of different things. Mother's Day presents, Father's Day breakfasts at the school, summer fairs, lots and lots of lovely things like that in normal times. But yeah, so a very, very active PTA.
There's another one there from Heather, Mrs. Langley. Do you have parent governors on your governing board, and is it shared with the academy?
Okay, we have a separate local advisory board, and that's what we call. So we have a trust governing body. So that's the trust board and the BCAT, Bedford College Academies Trust Board. And then we have a separate local advisory board. And yes, our current advisory board has 2 parent governors on there, and they've still got 1 more term to go for there. And then after that, we sort of go back to basics and start looking for different parent governors.
James has asked, can you tell us about your IT facilities? Thanks. We have laptops for the pupils to use. We have a suite of tablets as well, don't we, Mrs. Langley, I think? And smart boards in all of the classrooms, alongside various other bits and bobs of IT. In reception, we have quite a few control toys, electrical equipment that the children can use as well. There's another one there from Emma. Due to the growing houses, being built and the capacity of only 60 children at both Wixams Street and Lakeview, Do you think this will ever increase? That we were only discussing this yesterday, weren't we, Mrs. Langley?
Yes, we were. I do think the local authority has got plans to build on, particularly on Wixams Tree, another form of entry. When, I don't know, but they are supposed to be building a new school as well. So I think it's Village 4 over where the railway station will be, where there's supposed to be a town centre. They're going to build quite a large primary school, and I think it will be a 3-form entry school. It was initially supposed to be a very large primary school, 4-form entry school. But now, because we do have some additional land here, the local authority, and the trust are in talks about expanding Wixams Tree to another form of entry. But I can't tell you when that's going to happen, unfortunately.
There's another question that's just come in. As a first-time parent, is there a list of with what we need to provide for our son in reception? Yes, when your place is accepted and we will have those meetings with parents, we will discuss everything with you, and we host a new parent information evening where these kind of things can be discussed prior to starting school. It looks like that's all the questions there, Mrs. Pastel or Mrs. Langley. I don't think we've got any more questions there. No.
Well, thank you everybody that took the time to come and have a look to look at the school virtually and find out everything that you need to know. Obviously, we have a website and there's lots of additional information on there that Miss Leach has put in on for starting school. Yeah, so if and when we are allowed to have more people in school, we will welcomely open you with open arms to come and have a look at the school. We've got a very much an open door policy and very transparent in everything that we do. So if things change, please contact the school for a tour of the school, or we could even arrange another one, if things change throughout the next until in January time. Hopefully we can, but other than that, thank you very much for joining us this evening, and I hope it has been informative. Thank you.
There is a couple of questions, or one just from Gemma, one last one, I think, asking if we do home visits before the child starts. No, that's not something we have done, which is why we've offered parents to come into school to discuss their child's needs. But if it was something particular for a particular child, then that could be arranged. So it might be something that we start with our preschool children when they start, but not something with reception. To try and do 60 home visits is quite a feat. So, which is why we offer the parents a meeting with us in school. I don't think there's anything else there. So that's it. Yeah.
Okay, lots of lovely thank yous on there, so thank you, and thank you for attending. I do hope if you do want to come to the school that you do get your place, which will be amazing. Thank you. Good evening.